China's crumbling dreams, inside the collapse of a nation's homes. Has your boss arrived yet? A resident shouts, his voice trembling between anger and despair. Look at this wall, look at how red it's become. Can you even stand to look at it yourself? The camera shakes as the man points at a massive crack snaking across the underground garage of a new apartment complex in Jiangsu, Hebei province. It's supposed to be a 70-year property. Yet after barely a decade, the building looks ready to crumble. He pauses, eyes fixed on the widening fissure. I haven't even finished paying my mortgage, he mutters. And now, my house might fall down before I do. A nightmare beneath the floor. Residents of Rongsheng City residential complex in Jiangsu have been posting desperate videos. The entire foundation of Building No. 9 has begun to sink. Cracks stretch across walls, pillars, and the underground parking lot. Concrete has peeled away, revealing warped rebar inside. I'm terrified it'll collapse one night while we're asleep, one homeowner confesses. We still live here because we have nowhere else to go. Some residents bought their homes at 7,000 yuan per square meter, others paid 6,000 or 5,000. A few lucky ones got in early for 4,000. Including renovations and garage space, the total cost exceeds 1.5 million yuan, the life savings of 3 generations. Yet now, those families live in fear that the ceiling will come crashing down any moment. Can you sleep peacefully knowing the ground beneath you is hollow? Asks a woman holding her toddler. She gestures toward a gaping hole in the garage floor. Everywhere you step, the earth caves in. The city of cracks. Videos filmed by residents show entire concrete columns split open. Some have shifted several inches out of place. Others were hastily patched, painted white, and wrapped in mesh, but the cracks have reopened. This is a disaster waiting to happen, one voice says off-camera. We've counted 9 main support pillars that are no longer bearing any weight. 9. The cameraman zooms in. The base of each column is broken, forming a deep pit beneath the structure. You can see it right here, he says, voice trembling. From this pillar to that, O'Neill gone. The whole section sinking. It's like walking over a minefield. The walls above are also fracturing. Cement dust falls like snow. Don't let me fall through, the man pleads nervously, or I'll be buried alive. An entire neighborhood on the brink. Locals fear not just Building 9 but multiple sections of Rongsheng City are unstable. Reports have surfaced from blocks A3, A4, and A5, each showing similar structural failures. In one area, a massive crack runs straight through the road, forming what looks like an open well with no bottom. A 4's car park has split apart. A 3's ground has caved in, a resident says in disbelief. And A5? Everyone's saying it might collapse next. He pauses, voice breaking. The loans aren't even paid off yet. What are we supposed to do? The camera pans over scenes of devastation, fractured pillars, cracked walls, and sagging ceilings. Construction tape flutters uselessly in the wind. Experts say these are classic signs of foundation failure, a result of poor materials and rushed construction. A 1 million yuan grave. Each of these apartments was marketed as a dream home, a symbol of middle-class security. Instead, they've become ticking time bombs. Under the towering high-rises, thousands of tons of concrete press down on broken pillars and hollow ground. It could collapse at any moment, says one engineer reviewing the footage. If it does, it'll take hundreds of lives with it. Yet as of today, no evacuation orders have been issued. The authorities just tell us not to worry, one resident laments. But if the building falls, who will answer for it? When premium construction means sand and foam. The crisis is not isolated. On November 1st, in Danyang, Jiangsu province, another apartment block suddenly began to split apart in the middle of the night. Residents heard a loud cracking sound as the side wall peeled open, revealing rusted steel bars and hollow cement. "I could see daylight through the wall," one woman said. Before the collapse, residents had already reported sinkholes and cracks during an underground pipeline renovation. Officials who inspected the site dismissed the complaints, claiming it was safe. Days later, the building began to crumble. The structure was barely 30 years old, far short of the promised 70-year lifespan. "Now the government tells us to evacuate," a resident says bitterly. "But we have nowhere to go. No one's been compensated. No one's talking to us. What lies beneath? Foam, rust, and dust." Footage from another site shows workers scraping at a wall with bare hands. The concrete disintegrates into sand. "Look," the man says, pinching the material. "It's just powder. There's no gravel, no cement, nothing." Another video reveals foam stuffed inside window sills and ceilings. "They used styrofoam instead of concrete," a resident says. "You poke it, and it just falls apart. Even the rebar has rusted through. Large chunks of cement fall away, leaving hollow cavities that crumble at a touch." One homeowner in Tianjin's Lake District breaks down while filming her apartment. "I spent 2 million yuan on this," she cries. "I thought I bought a home. Instead, I bought a pile of scrap. The walls leak, the ceiling is full of holes, the tiles keep cracking, and dust rains on my child's face while he sleeps." She points at a load-bearing wall. This turns to powder when you touch it. How can such a house pass inspection? Who approved this? The price of silence. Experts and whistleblowers have long warned about Tofu-Dreg construction, a phrase that has become synonymous with China's corruption-plagued building industry. Behind every failed structure lies a web of subcontractors, local officials, and developers cutting corners to save costs and pocket extra profits. The problem isn't just bad workmanship, one former construction supervisor reveals. It's the entire system. From top to bottom, everyone takes a slice. By the time the project is built, there's no money left for quality materials. Insiders say bribes often replace safety checks. Projects are signed off with fake inspection reports, while underpaid workers are told to skip steps and make it look good from the outside. As a result, buildings across China have become time bombs buried beneath the city's unstable, unsafe, and waiting to explode. The rotten foundation of a superpower. China's obsession with speed and spectacle, build fast, build big, build cheap, has led to thousands of hidden disasters. In Shanghai, Shenzhen, Chengdu, Harbin, and Hainan, residents report the same problems: cracked walls, sinking foundations, leaking pipelines, and collapsing facades. Even new buildings, marketed as luxury residences, reveal glaring defects within months of occupancy. A viral video from a highway project shows workers laughing as they break apart a concrete road slab with their feet. Beneath the thin surface lies nothing but dry dirt. "2 kicks and it falls apart," one man jokes. They call this a premium project. A system built on sand. Experts trace this crisis to China's systemic corruption and reckless urban expansion. Most large projects are commissioned by state-owned enterprises or local governments. Developers compete for contracts through connections and kickbacks, not quality. To recover bribe money, contractors cut costs using cheap sand, seawater, and inferior cement. Each layer of subcontracting bleeds funds, until safety becomes the first casualty. The government calls it development, says a construction veteran of 15 years. But it's robbery disguised as progress. These aren't homestery coffins made of sand. Broken dreams, broken trust. For millions of Chinese families, owning a home is the ultimate Goala symbol of security, love, and achievement. Now, it's turning into a curse. In community after community, families find their new apartments splitting apart, water seeping through walls, ceilings buckling, tiles falling. Some continue paying mortgages for houses that may no longer be safe to live in. Others see a dangerous building, one man says, but for us, it's our entire life savings. In some cities, elevators have stopped working. Residents in high-rise apartments lower groceries and water from balconies using ropes. Streets are blocked, electricity and water cut off, and yet no government agency steps forward. The local officials ignore us, a resident pleads in a live stream. We just want Samionianianito take responsibility. The Empire of Rotten Concrete. Investigations by independent engineers reveal a grim pattern. Many of these buildings were constructed with improper concrete mixtures, often lacking sufficient cement or reinforcement. In several sites, saltwater from coastal sand was used, accelerating corrosion. Walls are hollow, columns misaligned, foundations poorly compacted. Experts warn that once a load-bearing column begins to crack, collapse is inevitable. In some cases, residents report hearing faint popping sounds before the walls begin to shift. These are not accidents, one analyst concludes. They are predictable consequences of greed. The political blueprint of corruption. Analysts point to a deeper cause, the political economy of the Communist Party itself. Most major construction projects in China are tied to government interests, says a former urban planner. They serve as cash machines for local officials and party elites. From land sales to project approvals, every stage generates profit for those in power. The result is a construction boom built not on quality, but on corruption. When you sacrifice integrity for speed, he adds, you don't build a nation, you build a trap. A country built to collapse. Across China, the phrase, 70-year property right, has become a bitter joke. Many buildings can barely survive 7 years before showing serious structural decay. Residents joke grimly that they'll be lucky if their homes last until the mortgage is paid off. Yet despite the mounting evidence, the government remains silent. Local officials censor videos, block reporters, and threaten whistleblowers. Developers disappear, leaving homeowners stranded with worthless properties. One resident's final words in his video are chilling. If the building falls, it won't just bury our homes, it'll bury our trust. Conclusion: the human cost of a rotten system. Behind the statistics and scandals are ordinary people, teachers, workers, retirees who poured everything into their homes. They believed in the dreams sold to them, a secure future, a place to belong. Now they live surrounded by cracks and fear, holding on to keys that unlock not comfort, but despair. Each creak in the night, each gust of wind against the window, becomes a reminder of how fragile their world truly is. These Tofu-Dreg buildings are not just symbols of shoddy construction. They are monuments to a system where greed outweighs human life, where officials sign off on death traps, and where silence becomes the only policy. As one heartbroken resident put it, standing before his sinking home, they promised us a lifetime. But our lifetime is shorter than their lies.